Hi, welcome back to Chop's Garage. This is going to be one of my rare appearances on camera because today I don't really have anything to show you. I've just got a story to tell you. And that's because today I honestly think someone must be pulling my chain because the most random things happened today. So what happened was, checking my phone first thing in the morning, 5:30, I've got an email from a customer at 5:30 in the morning saying to me that the car I sold them is the worst car they've ever bought. So obviously that gets you a little bit worried as to what's happened. So I look back on it and the car he's bought has been the Nissan X-Trail. If you remember, if you follow my channel regularly, gunmetal grey Nissan X-Trail, I think it was a 2013 or maybe 2014. I think it had 90 odd thousand miles on it. Guy's now had it for about 5 months. So the email goes out to explain why this is the worst car he's ever bought. So what happened was, after about 3 months of ownership, a fuel pipe burst in the car, obviously causing quite a bad smell in the car, those kind of things. Popped into the garage, fuel pipe was done. He claimed now I wasn't really aware of this, he claimed underneath the warranty-wise policy I put on the car. So on the cars, I put warranty-wise policies, the third-party company that gives you warranties. I pay for them. The customers don't pay for the warranties. I pay for the warranties. They give them free of charge. Obviously, that's over and above the Consumer Rights Act of 6 months. It's just another level of cover to make things easier for the customers. So he popped it down, and the warranty company said, being as it's a rubber pipe on a car that is now 10 years old and 100,000 miles, you really need to contribute something towards the repair. It wouldn't be covered under warranty because it's a rubber pipe. They could have just said no outright, but what they actually said was that I think they said they'll go 50-50 with them. This is what I found out in the email. So he said, so that's happened. He said, then the under tray came loose underneath the car. Now, I don't know if that is a result of the guys going in there and doing it regarding the fuel pipe. I don't know where the fuel pipe was, if they took the under tray off underneath, did they leave it loose, whatever like that. He's now, like I say, 5 months into having the car, and he said, today I've gone to the car and there's an oil leak on it, and I've opened the bonnet and I've looked at the oil leak, and there's a load of tools down the side of the engine where the guys have done the repair. So the worst car he's ever bought, 10 years old, 100,000 miles, has had a burst fuel pipe after a couple of months, and now it has an oil leak, which looks like it's a result of the mechanics leaving tools down the side. At least he thinks it's a result of the mechanics leaving tools down the side of the engine, and the under tray's come a bit loose. So obviously, personally, I don't view that as the worst car I've ever owned. I'm looking for the engine's exploded, the EGR and DPF has gone, that kind of thing, the expensive stuff, and him having to plough a load of money into it. But obviously, at the moment, he's just in it for half the fuel pipe repair, which I did ask him how much it was. So anyway, I appreciate he's concerned the car's now got an oil leak. So what I've said is, look, get it across to my guys, Moores over at South Melton. They're my preferred garage. Get them to have a look at it. I need for them to tell me whether these tools did actually create the oil leak on the car or not. I'm suspecting they probably didn't. I mean, I imagine it could do. I'm trying to think what the tools could damage down the side of the engine. Maybe you'd comment down below. But until we get the report from Moores, we're not going to know. So I said, there's no problem at all. I mean, he's 5 months in. He's obviously worried, I presume, because he's coming to the end of his 6-month warranty and 6 months consumer rights. So get it down to Moores, get him to check it over. We'll have a look at it. Let me know how much the fuel pipe bill was. Because obviously I try and keep customers. I mean, everybody says dealers are dodgy, but if you go through the comments on it and you speak to other dealers and you watch their other channels, we're spending money out hand over fist to keep customers happy with what really are old, very used cars. Anyway, so that isn't the thing that I said is the mad thing that makes me think that people are having a joke with me today, because that was 5:30 in the morning. I get into work probably about 9ish, and the phone rings. Pick it up. Hi James, I'm so and so. I bought the silver Land Rover Discovery off you. So if you remember, I sold a 2008. Again, if you watch the channel regularly, a 2008 Land Rover Discovery. That had about 100,000 miles on it. It's a very scary car to sell in retail. Again, any of those that understand cars and have like a balanced viewpoint of car dealers and cars, I would understand why I'd be nervous of that. They're renowned for having faults. This is now a car that is well over 10 years old. We're getting on to what now, 14 years old, 15 years old, 100,000 miles on it. Worst car I've ever bought. You want to be careful. So I'm only ringing you because you need to be careful where you buy your cars from. Now this guy's had this car for 5 months. And the reason he's had this car for 5 months is, I've just remembered, he's the chap that part exchanged the Nissan X-Trail. So again, this is why I think, so the same 5 months later, the same two the same people from that one deal ring on exactly that day or message on exactly that day? What's the odds of that? That's mental, isn't it? So he says to me, you want to be careful. I just want you to be careful you're buying the cars from. You said you got it from a mate. Well, what I meant by mate is it's my friend that works in the main dealership that I get the part exchanges from. And I said, oh, and I'm thinking one of those, you guys who know the car will go, you know, did the crank go on it? Did the cam belt snap? Did the EGR or the turbo fail on it? All of those things. He said, I've got it in, he said, because, again, he's had it 5 months, bear in mind, the brake caliper seized. He said, I was driving along, the brake caliper seized, started making a smell. He said, and when I took it into the garage, they looked at those back discs and they said, the back brake discs had a lip on them. So he said, I'm having all calipers done all round. He said, I'm having all discs and pads done all round, which I said, fantastic. If that's going to put your mind at ease, that's brilliant. I said, but in all honesty, I said, that's not my friend selling me a bad car. I said, you've had it for 5 months now. It's a 14-odd-year-old car. And I have to be honest, I thought you were going to hit me with something very scary about the car needing repairs, but it needs, after 5 months of driving, brake pads and discs. Obviously, the caliper wasn't seized when the vehicle went out, because he said to me, you know, we knew that it seized because it started smelling really badly, like burning. We took it straight into the garage. So that's obviously seized 5 months later while he's driving along. And as much as people would like to believe that as a dealer, I have this mystical crystal ball power, that I knew that brake caliper was bad 5 months ago and just let it ride, and it happened to seize at that point, that isn't the case. I know a lot of people would like to believe that's the case, but that isn't the case. So I had to say to him, I said, to be perfectly honest, I said, I think you get with a 2008 Land Rover, if after 5 months of driving, that's what you're having to do, I think you've got off pretty lightly. And I said, the actual repair is a pair of rear discs and a brake caliper. You've kind of decided to do all the rest of the stuff, which, you know, fair enough. He wants to get all new braking on it. That's great. But as a dealer, I said, there's no way I could have put all new discs and pads all the way around on the off chance, and brake calipers on the off chance they might go in 5 months' time, because that would have added probably 1,500 quid to the price of the vehicle. And if I put it up for £1,500 more, you never would have come and looked at it in the first place. So, so he was cool with me. I mean, neither of these guys have been particularly different. He was cool with me, but I had to say to him at the point, just to help him put it in perspective, I couldn't help myself. Wrongly or rightly, I said, do you know what? I've just had a message this morning about the car you part exchanged to this next one. I went, oh yeah. He said, yeah, that guy says that's the worst car he's ever had. He went, really? I said, yeah. He said, what's happened? I said, well, the fuel pipe went on. He went, really? It's like a 10-year-old car. Of course a fuel pipe can go at any time. I went, yeah, they can, can't they? And I said, he said to me, I said, oh, when he said the under tray came loose, he went, oh, I never had any problems with that car. It's just an under tray. What's that? And I said, yeah, it just needed tightening back up again. He went, oh, he said, yeah, no, I never had any problems with that vehicle at all. I said, well, now he says it's got an oil leak as well. And he went, oh. So, like I said, we went on good terms. He said, oh, well, I only rang you to let you know you need to be careful where you buy your cars from. And I said, well, thanks for the advice. I said, but in fairness to my guys again, when they take a car in part exchange, they drive it around the block and check that it drives all right and the bodywork's okay. They don't get it on a lift and start pulling it apart. The expectation, I mean, some of you watch my TikToks as well, the expectation is that when a dealer takes a part exchange in, it's own fault if there's a problem with it, because he should have spotted it. But unless someone's prepared to leave you with a car for 3 days while you give it to a garage and they literally go over every inch of the car on a ramp, and then they drive it for a day at all speeds and all temperatures and that, if you can find me a mechanic that can pick up the faults, all the faults on a 10-year-old part exchange car within a 5-minute test drive of it, I'll pay him whatever he wants to come and work for me, because I guarantee you they won't. So anyway, I said to him, to be fair to my guys, it's not that they're dishonestly selling me bad cars. You're 5 months in and you have to do discs and pads on it. And I said, you can see from your other example, your X-Trail was a great car when it went out the door. You thought it was a great car. The guy's had that for 5 months now and he's having a few niggly problems, but that is part and parcel of having an older vehicle. But anyway, that's the story for today. I know you guys like the trading stories. I thought someone was winding me up to have those 2 calls on the same day. I couldn't, I just couldn't believe it. And comment down below, was I a bit cheeky for mentioning about his X-Trail? I just couldn't help myself at the time, because again, I just think it helps put people put stuff in perspective, because I know when anybody has to spend money on a car, it's not nice. It's not nice having to spend money on a car. But at the end of the day, these aren't brand new vehicles. If I could take that vehicle, for example, the Land Rover, which was probably a 45k car when it was new, and I could make it as new with all new components, then you would likely not have the problems. But would you pay me 45k for a 2008 car? You wouldn't. My duty is to make them safe, roadworthy, and as good as we possibly can. We always go advisory free MOTs. So if disc and pads come up on the MOT, they get done. We do a service before they go out the door. We include a warranty. That was a 2008 vehicle with 100-odd thousand miles on it. Still included a 3-month warranty. Still got 6 months consumer rights, which wouldn't cover the disc and pads because quite clearly they are a consumable item. But anyway, yeah, comments down below. Thought you'd like that story. As always, massive thanks for watching my ramblings, and I hope to catch you on the next one when we're back to normal service and I'll just be waving my hand around behind the camera. Just a quick reminder, we've got our taxi raffle on the go, with 50% of the proceeds going to the Grand Appeal, which is the charity that helps support families that have got terminally ill children in hospital by providing accommodation, that kind of thing. I dropped part down to Moors yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I'll take the taxi. And I was driving down the street and I thought, how appropriate is this, guys? I was driving down the street in a taxi, sun was out, and I saw a lot of people grinning at me as I drove around with the window right the way down and my arm hanging out the side. And there was a little lad with his dad on the side of the street, and he just looked and pointed and went, taxi! I could hear him from inside the cab. He just shouted taxi, and I thought, how appropriate is that? If that doesn't make you grin, then you're dead inside, I have to say. So yeah, we got the taxi up for grabs. It's just £1 a ticket on the raffle. 50% of the proceeds going to that charity regardless of whether we meet the cost of the taxi or not. You have got that second alternative prize if you check the raffle out down below, of about £1,000 worth of technical stuff. So you've got the diagnostics machine, the battery testers, all that bundle put together as an alternative. And as I said before in a previous video, if someone does want to have the taxi and raffle it off and give 100% of the proceeds to charity, I'm more than happy to help with them afterwards. In fact, what I'm going to say is, if someone actually wants to do that, if someone would wants to actually raffle the taxi off, I will let them have the bundle pack free. They can have all the tech equipment, and I will put the raffle up again for the taxi with 100% of the proceeds going to that charity. I say all that will be deducted is the raffle site's 10% fee. That charges for them to make sure everything goes legal and has all the right parameters, and they underwrite every raffle. So they will cover the prizes if any chance the person doing the raffle didn't honour it, which obviously we're gonna. The car's here, you can have it. But yeah, so I'll put the link in the description down below for that. A well worthwhile charity. If we can make these work, I'm going to do them continuously. We have in fact got back the Toyota Camry, which is going to be our next raffle car. She needs a good clean and a polish and the paint we're doing, but I've just got her back from Moors. In the next video, I'm going to cover all the work we had done to the Camry, and I have spent an absolute fortune. No, she's not looking like it at the moment, but in terms of the bones of her, I spent an absolute fortune getting this car done. We'll run through the build, which was the biggest bill I've had on a car yet, but this thing is all set. I hope to use it at the festival, the Unexceptional, beforehand, showcase it a bit. Like I say, next thing is a clean up and the paint. But that's why we kind of bridge the gap for the moment using the taxi, because this isn't quite ready for that yet. And hopefully we'll be able to find another charity to help out when we do that one. So yeah, obviously if you're new to my channel, go back in my backlog of videos. There's loads of videos of me driving a taxi about and giving it a full walk around, the test drive and all that kind of thing. As always, massive thanks for watching the video, much appreciated. I try and get through all your comments down below, so please do comment and I'll try and get back and answer as many of you as possible. But yeah, as always, massive thanks for the support and for watching the channel, and I'll see you again soon.